in it because they're your friends and you got to be nice. So there's that aspect to it. I hate it because occasionally it makes me feel kind of crawly. Like, oh my God, I'm not worthy. But I can deal with that. It's my thinking. But honestly, I know a lot of you were here Friday. You heard me talk about George. For me, George and Linda, I'm in awe of them. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. Not that I think that they're at some other level that's unattainable, but just because... it occurred to me when Nina was pregnant with Oliver, I realized my dad died right around that time. And I realized that I had not learned one thing my dad taught me, but I had learned everything that he was. And I was really lucky because I had a great dad. So a lot of the things that people say they admire about me are nothing to do with me. Like, that's just how I came out. That's the atmosphere I grew up in. I didn't know any better. Right? And I remember when Nina was pregnant with Oliver thinking, so that means I've got 9 months to become everything I'd like to give him because he's not going to listen to a word I say once he's out. No, I don't know if that was true, but that was how it looked to me. For me, that's my experience of you guys. That's my experience of George and Linda. That they are walking, talking, breathing human examples of what they teach. And so consequently, what they say is really cool. What happens when you hang out with them is even cooler. So, George and Linda.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever had a better introduction. Have you ever had a better introduction?
No.
I don't think so.
Really,
that was great.
really nice.
It was exactly the same as the cue card I gave him, too. Which is to the word.
Really?
Yeah, it's the same as the cue card. Before we start, I wanted to give you a little context to kind of to say that what we'll be doing is different than what we would normally do, and it's different in a very specific way. Like, someone came to Lacana and they saw us. These are, to us, the basic components of talking to people. You connect with them, and then you do some intake, and then you do some teaching, and then you find out why the teaching didn't work, and you go from there. And I think everybody that works with people does this in their own, whether a Freudian or whether they're teaching the principles. Now, the big difference is right here. Like, normally we would do a lot of intake. Sometimes we would do 2 sessions of intake, sometimes more, okay? And if the person said, well, I'm only coming for 2 sessions, like Toby, is it? Kelly, that wouldn't deter us. We'd still do a bunch of intake and figure that they'd probably want to come back if they understood what we could do for them better, see? But we have a situation here where it's as if absolutely positively it's off the table. I'm not coming back. Everything you do has to be in 2 sessions. That's it, for whatever reason, because we're flying to Europe or whatever it is. So the part that gets squeezed in that is the intake. So we do enough intake in order to teach something that would be helpful to Kelly, you see, which is different from what we would normally do. We're looking for, normally in intake, we're looking for the linchpin. We're looking for the deepest place that we can connect, that we can start talking from. But in this instance, we're just going to take a little bit, a lower hanging fruit and teach from that. Still valuable, still we're looking for something that will be helpful. So that was my 2 cents. So Kelly, why don't you come on up. Make yourself comfortable. My dad used to say, sit down and make yourself homely. And I'd say to him, I already did that. I already made myself homely.
Homely, feel good. I was thinking the low-hanging fruit. Now, that's not what you were talking about on the first night.
No.
We want the high-hanging fruit to fall into my lap.
That's true.
We know how I start with people is essentially.
Your mic's not on, Linda.
My mic? No, isn't my mic on or no? No?
It's on, it's just not high enough. There you go, yeah, put it a little bit high, more towards your throat.
Like right up there.
Put it over your chin.
Put it on my nose. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, now is it getting a bad feedback? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so when I start working with people, I kind of jump in, you know? And so basically it's like, what do you want to know? Or tell me what you want to say, or why are you here? What do you want to learn? Any variation or any kind of thinking that you want to give me is just what I want to know. So.
Okay. Well, I think for me, I want to get to a deeper level of understanding than the intellectual understanding of mind and consciousness and so forth. I have done an intensive with Michael for 3 days about 9 months ago. So I have some, I've been working on it and trying not to work on it, but thinking on it and thinking around it. What brought me to the point of going to see Michael was I have, since my early 20s, really been seeking spiritual guidance. I didn't go to church, as my family didn't go to church, and I organized religion. I kind of felt like it was a path, stay between these lines, and I just didn't resonate with me as well. And I did a lot of reading and meditations with like Wayne Dyer's material and Miriam Williamson. I listen to Hay House almost every night when I go to sleep because it just helps me go to sleep, and I figure, why not put good stuff in? And I could definitely see the synergies in meditating and having things show up in your life effortlessly. And the one thing that always eluded me was, why can you know? For me, the Wayne Dyer manifestations and meditations worked wonders. Many, many things happened for me that way. And I thought, what is it about being a human being that you know something works, but you can't stick to it? Whether it's affirmations, or I think that there's a lot of different ways for people to get there. And I think when I went and saw Wayne in Maui, and I was really looking for some inspiration because I have a very fast-growing business, and I've got 2 kids, 8 and 11. I've got a happy marriage, and my meditations are always just 3 words: joy, abundance, balance. And I felt like, gosh, I've got the world by the tail. I've got so many wonderful blessings in my health and these healthy children and this growing business, but I still felt this emptiness and this, and I struggled with depression off and on, and it just didn't make any sense to me, as hard as I was looking for how to feel fulfilled. And I knew it was a spiritual type void, but I couldn't seem to fill it. And so I was listening to Hay House Radio, and accidentally Michael's show came on, and I just really liked him. I liked how his examples resonated with me, and I liked his straightforward, kind of no BS approach to things. And I listened to maybe 2 or 3 more shows, and then I looked him up online and just emailed, and Terry called me back within like an hour, which was a shock. I thought, well, I'll never hear back from him, first of all. And there was no pricing on the site, so I didn't know what I was really getting into. High fee coaching. But when I spoke to Terry, she gave me time to talk to him, and it was just so happened that I was going to be in California on business within a week or 2, and he had an opening on the Friday mornings that he does his intake, and it all just fell together so effortlessly, and I happened to be able to afford to do it, and I decided that I was going to do that for myself. And my husband thought I was crazy. First of all, he couldn't understand what it was all, what exactly are you going for? And I'm trying to explain it to him. I'm going because I want to be a happier person. I want to feel joy on the inside because I have so much to be thankful for, and I've done all my abundance prayers, and I'm meditating, and I'm successful, but I just can't feel this joy and this happiness that I see some people, not very many people, but some people, like a lot of people here, you see it and you know it and you're drawn to those people, but you can't necessarily put your finger on it. And so that's kind of how I started, and I did spend the time with Michael, and I felt like I wasn't getting it. I felt like I was a bad student trying to understand intellectually. I just kept getting stuck on inside out and outside in, and my thoughts are creating my reality. But slowly I've gotten more and more of that, and I am getting it, and it's helping me make different decisions for how I run my business and how I am with my kids and how I'm looking at things. But I want to get deeper. I want to get a deeper understanding. I want to spend more time in the knowing and in the synchronicities and in the calm, as you talked about, letting the opportunities drop in your lap, because I do business plans for a living and I'm a business consultant. So for me not to do, and I haven't done a business plan for my own business this year. I decided for the first time not to, and I had a very specific life plan like Michael and other people have talked about, and I have been able to let go of that kind of stuff and step back and slow down, but I still feel like I'm on the edge of really, really getting it, and that's my desire.
Well, can I ask you a question?
No.
Can he ask you a question?
Yeah.
Will you ask her what she means by it? What's it?
Yeah.
What's getting it? What does it look like?
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about what getting it means. What would that?
What I mean by it is knowing that my thoughts are causing my feelings, and living at kind of a higher understanding so that I'm making decisions and keeping my stress level down more, trusting in the process. Spending more time. We talked about the roller coaster, and we all want to be up here all the time and feeling good and connected. You know, the book that Deepak Chopra wrote, Way of the Wizard, where you look at your life in reverse and it all makes perfect sense. I've always found myself talking to older, successful people to, you know, how did you get there? How did it? And it's always interesting that the path, you know, oh, it makes perfect sense when they tell you that way, you know, but as it happened, it didn't make sense. And even with my own life, I'm in my 40s, I can see certain things leading to other things, and it all makes perfect sense now. But as it's happening, every once in a while, I will see the effortlessness of something, just one of the high-hanging fruits dropping in my lap. But I still am also probably trying to control and manifest more. I stopped meditating and things like that, but
You stopped meditating?
I did stop meditating. It was the one thing that I found. One thing I felt like I got permission when I talked to Michael that I could stop doing things to get a good feeling, to understand this, that I didn't need to be doing affirmations all the time. I mean, or I guess I learned that I couldn't control my thoughts, no matter how much I meditated or how many affirmations or abundance journals, that I wasn't going to be able to control my thoughts. And so it kind of gave me permission to let go of the wheel and enjoy the ride, kind of. So I want to learn how to do that more.
So did it kind of work for you?
I feel like, I feel like I got part way. I feel like I understood it intellectually, and that sometimes I understand it philosophically. But like Sydney Banks, I read those couple of books, and I just want to be living in the understanding portion more often.
Okay. Now, when you are living in the understanding portion, which you are a little bit, right? True. Describe that. Talk about that. What does that feel like, look like to you when you're living in where you want to be?
It feels, I think effortless is the right word. More relaxed, without stress, at peace, and definitely more joy. And that's what I was really trying to learn, how to be less serious, less driven, less be the perfect mom. I mean, just to not watch life, but be in the moment. Everyone says, be in the moment, be in the moment. It's like, how the hell do you get in the moment? I can't get in the moment, So that's what I'm trying to learn how to do.
Can I ask you something? Now, Kelly, now I want to see if I made this up or whether this is actually true. Okay, but it seemed to me when Linda asked you that question, and it seemed to me that when you reflected on it in order to answer it, it looked to me like you got calmer and quieter and more peaceful. Is that true?
Yes.
Now, in your mind, would that be what you're talking about? Would that be an example of what you're talking about?
Yes, and I see it in my business. I'm noticing it in my business. I'm a business consultant for plastic surgeons all over the United States, and plastic surgeons are not the most easygoing bunch of people. They're pretty demanding, and so when something doesn't go right on a project for them, it's like the sky is falling, and it's a big deal. And it's a big deal right now, no matter whether I'm on a flight and I can't possibly deal with it or not. And since in the last couple months, I really have taken it in stride.